Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and welcome to the Stewards room, where we'll be taking a look at racing incidents submitted by you guys and trying to make a determination on who, if anyone, was at fault. There's a link in the description to submit your own clips, and feel free to check out the playlist link for more of these videos, specifically the first, which acts as a scene setter. Also keep an eye out for cards popping up on screen towards the end of each segment, where you can vote on who you thought was at fault for each incident. So for this episode, we're going to be looking at dodgy movements, and basically that means movements that really you're not allowed to make. So this is our first clip. We're going to slow it down as we normally do. And we can see that in the Ferrari, the yellow Ferrari, we're coming up on the Golf and we got a bit of an overspeed. So we're going to the outside. Obviously the Golf has sort of defended the position a little bit by staying to the inside really. You know, the normal line at this point would be to continue moving over to the right hand side, like that, but because the Golf is realizing that the Ferrari has an overspeed, he kind of sticks to the middle of the road, which is perfectly fine to make that defensive move. But then as we get towards the corner, obviously as you can see there, the Golf stays to the left, whereas all the other cars you can see are continuing to the right. So the Ferrari decides to go for an outside overtake and go to the outside of the track, which is bold. It's difficult to do, but you know, if you've got a bit of an overspeed, you can certainly try it. But what ends up happening is that the Golf just decides to, you know, go and take the racing line again, which he is not entitled to do. That is not what you're allowed to do. So let's have a look at the rules of racing document and show that that's the case. So here we are back with the rules of racing document, and first of all, obviously we've covered this in previous episodes, but we've got the one move rule where you're allowed to make one move anywhere you like on the track as long as there isn't a driver at any point alongside you. You're also allowed to go back to the racing line once you've made your one move. So the first move would be when a defending driver makes their move to the inside to defend the position. That's like what we saw with the Golf, where he stayed to the middle of the track even when a little bit left to keep his defensive line. And then his second move would be to go back to the outside of the track to take the racing line. That's exactly what we saw the Golf do in that clip. But there's one important caveat when doing that. This move is seen very frequently and is considered acceptable, with one important caveat. When the defender moves back to the outside, they must leave at least one car width between themselves and the edge of the track, allowing the attacker to potentially run deep around the outside. And that is not what we saw the Golf do. So again, let's look at it. This is basically, you know, anything that's out of what would normally happen when it comes to the racing line becomes your one move. So the racing line would normally continue off to the left there. The Golf makes a change and continues. The racing line goes off to the right. The Golf continues to the left. You can even see him sort of change his direction of travel to keep that defensive line on the left. So there's his one move. That's the move that he's done. He's decided that he's going to defend on the inside for that corner. That's fine. And now coming up to this part of the corner, again, he's allowed to move back over to the right to take the racing line for the next corner, which is a left-hander. But like I said, one important caveat, you've got to leave at least one car width between the edge of the track and yourself. You're not allowed to just go all the way back over, because you need to give space for the car who's, you know, close by you to go deep around the outside if he needs to. That's part of the rules of racing. But that's obviously not what the Golf does. He brakes and then continues to go round all the way to the right, continues, enough to send the Ferrari off the track completely. There's certainly not a car width there. You can see the edge of the track is defined by this white line. There should be one car width between this white line and where the Golf decides to be. There clearly isn't. And yeah, it sends the Ferrari off the side of the track, and that's entirely on the Golf's fault. You know, the blue Golf should have left more space there, essentially. And that's pretty clear cut. It's in the rules. If you're going to retake your racing line and you've got somebody, you know, if you're defending your position on the inside and you want to retake your racing line, you have to leave a car width when you make that second move back over to the outside of the track. And he doesn't do that, and that's what causes the crash. Entirely on the blue car's fault in this one. as always, there's a poll in the top right. You can vote on who you thought was at fault: blue car, yellow car, or was it just a racing incident? But yeah, based on everything that I've just shown, obviously with the rules as they're set out, that is entirely the blue car's fault from my perspective. So next clip, we're on GTA in the snow, and yeah, kind of pretty clear cut this one, I think, but we're going to look at the rules of racing document about this in particular, just to, showcase the rules. But basically the blue car just runs the red car off the road, and that is definitely not allowed. So as you can see, back to the rules of racing document: racing alongside another car. When one driver is completely ahead of another on a straight, either of them can move with impunity within the width of the track. Things change when there's an overlap between the cars, because lateral movement could cause a collision. Ultimately, the rule is, if two cars have any parts alongside one another, each driver must respect the space occupied by the other car. It doesn't matter who is ahead nor how far ahead they are. On a straight, you are not allowed to initiate a move into another car, even if, as you can see on the diagram, even if its front wing, even the front wing of the car is by the very back wing of the rear of the car that's in front, you are not allowed to do that on a straight. You're not allowed to just turn into someone when they're occupying the space. As you can see here, any driver defending his position on a straight and before any braking area may use the full width of the track during his first move, provided no significant portion of the car is attempting to pass alongside his. And then obviously it goes on to say, for the avoidance of doubt, if any part of the front wing of the car attempting to pass is alongside the rear wheel of the car in the front, this is deemed to be a significant portion. So even though the rules state a significant portion, really significant portion means any part of the car. So this one's obviously pretty clear cut. Even at this point, as they're on the straight, there's a very significant portion of the red car alongside the blue car. So the blue car is not allowed to move into the space occupied by the red car. The red car is even travelling over to the right as well to even give a little bit more space to the blue car. But he just continues moving to the right for, I can't understand why. Turns him around, sends him completely off the track. Whether it's a bit of GTA physics going on with that, I don't know. But then just drives away. So yeah, completely not allowed this one. Ran him off the road. Very easy to see, but as always, there's going to be a poll. Blue car's fault? Is it the red car's fault for whatever reason? Or is it just a racing incident? You let me know. Obviously the blue car does go wide, and obviously is trying to get back onto the track, but that's still no excuse for just turning into someone. There's plenty of space for him to come back off into the track there. So yeah, blue car for me. Absolutely 100%. So next clip, and it's perfectly encapsulating this kind of situation of dodgy movements, and there's a big crash because of this. As you can see, someone just goes to the inside there, and this one's a little bit more difficult because it's not a perfect straight, but it's not a corner either, really, this one. So let's slow it down again. This is a full speed, high speed, full throttle section of the track. So really, the same thing applies that we've just seen when it comes to not going for any space that's occupied by another car. And obviously, as we can see, that the yellow and black car, I don't know what he's trying to do. Whether he's trying to go to the inside to get a better line to overtake the green car in front, but you can see that the blue and white car there is, on the inside. The yellow and black car just cuts completely across. They have a coming together. And I can't put that, after everything that we've just seen, I can't put that on anyone's fault other than the yellow and black car. I mean, what is the white and blue car meant to do in that situation? Especially the speed at which it goes. He just launches himself over to the right-hand side of the track. And even though it is, front wheel of the blue and white car to rear wheel of the black and yellow car, as we've just seen, that is deemed to be a significant portion of the car, and that's enough that you're not allowed to move into that space that the blue and white car is occupying. Obviously, he does do that. It doesn't necessarily have to be intentional. He may have just not known that he was there and he was going for a better line. That's fine. I'm not saying that all of these incidents are always intentional takeouts, but that doesn't mean that it isn't his fault either. So for me, totally on the fault of the yellow and black car there for basically, not being aware of his surroundings and and taking the space that he shouldn't have taken, that was occupied by another car. And it's not as if the blue and white car is doing anything out of the ordinary either. He's just following the line of the track. So again, let me know your thoughts on the poll. Obviously a big crash happens from this, and I guess the black and yellow car gets what he deserves in the end by flying so far up. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the poll in the top right and in the comments down below. But yeah, I think that one's pretty clear cut, and these are the kind of movements that you can't be making when you're doing some racing. So final clip, we're at a rallycross race and a little bit of a hit, and then someone comes in from nowhere. This is classic GTA, isn't it? So a rallycross race, there's 8 people in the race, so it's a typical rallycross scenario. And let's slow it down and see what happens. Now, the one thing that I will point out is that when it comes to rallycross races, if nobody's ever watched them, the rules are a little bit more relaxed when it comes to contact, because it is such close quarters. So we're going to have to keep that into account. Now, I'm not gonna say anything about the red Omnis here, just because I think that's just a consequence. You know, it's not. He goes, the red Omnis goes for a line that under normal circumstances would be fine if it wasn't for these two crashing in the first place. So I'm not going to include the red Omnis into any of this, even though it does look pretty spectacular the way that he comes into it. Really, the point of contact is here between the black Omnis and the orange Omnis. So I think you could be forgiven as the black Omnis for expecting the orange Omnis to be sort of more over here, you know, not necessarily exactly following the path, because, you know, the checkpoint is out here. You can certainly get away with, you know, cutting this corner, and I've raced on this track, so I know that that's something that you can do. But the Omnis is also, you know, a decent way alongside. The orange Omnis is decently alongside the black Omnis. So as the black Omnis, you can't also just turn in when the orange Omnis is taking that space. And again, it's exactly the same thing as what we saw. Even though this is a slight curve, it's not really a corner. This is more full throttle. Not really a straight, but it acts like a straight. So you can't just take that area away from the orange car that's already there. So it's not really a major coming together either. It's just kind of one of those things where, for me, I would probably be putting this down to a racing incident, because both of them are pretty close together. They're both, you know, the orange Omnis theoretically could be turning a little bit more, but the black Omnis could also be leaving a lot more space on the outside. For me, I think this is just a racing incident. You know, it's just one of those things, especially with rallycross where it's a little bit more relaxed in terms of contact. I don't think that I can necessarily put any major blame on anyone for this. In this kind of situation, it's just one of those things. Obviously, the way that it all ended was worse and made worse by the flying red car coming into it. It probably everyone would have got away with it a lot easier if it hadn't have been for that. You know, the black Omnis would have just got turned around, and they both would have been able to carry on fine. But I think this is a bit of both. You know, a bit of both cars really going into the space that the other car is occupying, equally as much, to be honest. And I would say that this was just a racing incident, just one of those things, especially it can happen in a pretty chaotic rallycross format. But obviously, you guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments and on the poll in the top right. That goes for all of the clips that we've seen today. I think I'm also going to leave a 5th poll for you to vote on. That's basically going to ask you whether you would prefer to see less clips in videos where clips are more, there's more to them. So obviously this episode we've done 4 clips in 20 minutes because the decisions and what we needed to make on them wasn't too bad. And I would say that's most of the episodes are kind of like that. But there's some episodes where 1 or 2 clips may take a little bit longer to unpack and decide who was really at fault. So in those situations, would you prefer to have less clips in a video, to keep the video at around, say, 15 to 20 minutes, where it's just 2 or 3 clips? Or do you not mind that some videos are, 25-30 minutes long, and then other videos are 15 to 20 minutes long? And do you just prefer to have 4 clips in every single video? I'll leave another poll in the top right where you can vote on that. And obviously let me know down below in the comments as well, because this is a series that I'm enjoying making, but I also want to keep changing it up and find what's right in terms of the format. And I've been doing that quite a bit over the time that we've been doing this. So yeah, I'm always interested to hear what you guys think about that. So like I said, fifth poll in the top right, and let me know your thoughts in the comments about all these incidents and the format in terms of how long these videos are and how long clips take. Sometimes I know people say that I take too long on a clip, but sometimes they require a bit of, looking at in depth, and that's just how it is. Sometimes they're not easy to decide all the time. So yeah, let me know your thoughts as always. You can find in the video description all the info and links that you may need to submit your own clips, and if you'd like to support me, you can do so on Patreon by becoming a YouTube member or simply subscribing and liking the video. Thank you all so much for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.